हरिओम फ्रेंड्स, सभी को आत्मबंधन। We have been taking weekly sessions in English for the benefit of our overseas friends. We have had around 3 sessions in English, and the time has also been adjusted according to the convenience of overseas friends. In the last 3 sessions, we have summed up briefly the broad teachings of Advait Vedant as explained by Raman Maharshi and Nisargadatta Maharaj. To sum up again, as we know, the Maharshi Raman and Nisargadatta Maharaj, they tell us, they explain us that there is only one reality. You may call it self or Atman or consciousness, and it has two attributes. One attribute is it provides as a substratum, it acts as a substratum for all things to arise and subside. And second attribute is it has illumination. So, as a substratum and as an illumination, it provides shining to every activity, to everything, to the world outside, to our body, to different beings. So, they have suggested us the direct path. How do you realize this reality? That is the self-realization. In the morning also we read from the book of Nisargadatta Maharaj that you have to distinguish between self and non-self. Self is that substratum, that reality, which is unchanging, which remains as it is, which is neither born nor it ends. It is infinite, it is immortal, it is ever fresh, always illuminating. And other than that, whatever else is, that is non-self, means that is only an appearance, that is not the reality, that is unreal. But what happens in our daily experience? That these appearances, like a thing, like a relationship, like the human beings, their bodies, mind, thoughts, feelings, all this which appears only is taken as real. So Nisargadatta Maharaj and Maharshi Raman says they are merely appearances and they are illusory. And once you remove them, once you understand the illusory character of non-self and you discard the non-self, then you realize the self. And that is the self-realization. Therefore, the sages has also suggested, as the earlier sages, Adi Shankaracharya in Yog Vasisht also, neti neti, not this, not this, not this. Whatever is visible to you, whatever is experienced by you, all your experiences, all the objects of the experiences, they do not exist. They do not exist in the sense they are changing. Your body is changing constantly. Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, everything is changing. But what happens? We take it as real. I take myself as a body, as a mind, as senses, and as a independent, separate personality with doership. Maharshi sage, Nisargadatta Maharaj sage, this is a total illusion. There is no separation. There is no separate entity like an individuality. It is only appears out of illusion. And the moment you consider yourself as individuality or as ego, you cannot realize. You cannot realize the truth, that reality. It will remain concealed or veiled by this ego. So you have to dissolve this ego and then the reality will be revealed. So, how to dissolve this ego? So, Maharshi has suggested us a very, very beautiful, very wonderful method that is called direct method. There is progressive path of meditation, which is a very slow path in which you meditate, you purify your mind, and then the self reflecting the light. Awareness light is reflected in the mind, and mind is at peace. That is the Buddhist way of moving slowly, slowly, slowly. Maharshi says that is a slow path that will take many, many years or maybe many lifetimes. There is a direct path in which you investigate the mind. In the terminology of Maharshi, ego, mind, and I thought, they are same. Maharshi says that in the sleep when you go in the night, the last thought which sets in, which is dropped, is the I thought. That is the root thought. That is the thought representing the ego or your mind. And in the morning when you wake up, the first thought which rises is this I thought. And when the I thought rises in the waking state, it starts connecting with the other so many thoughts. And then your entire world is created. I thought connecting to the body, I am the body, connecting to the other thoughts, connecting to the minute details of your activities, connecting to the memories, your self image, it expands. So, root of all the thoughts is this I thought. When you wake up in the morning, this I thought is the first to arise. If you can stop at that I thought and start investigating what is this I thought, it will be stalled. It will not be moving outward further. So Maharshi suggests the only proper method is to inquire who am I? What is this I thought? So that the movement of I thought outside is arrested. It is contained. And when the I thought is investigated, then you will find I thought does not have any independent existence of its own. I thought takes the shining character from the self, which is the eternal I, and it grasps, it depends on for its strength by connecting to the body. So it becomes I am the body. Because in reality, it doesn't have any existence at all. Therefore, Maharshi says, when you wake up in the morning, you will find a mysterious power, sensation of I, appears in your body. This is a kind of ray, shining ray, starting from the source, that is the self, and it moves outward by the medium of I thought, that is the mind. Mind giving further illumination to your senses, your seeing, your hearing, your tasting, your smelling, your touching. And you go totally outward and you create the entire world. Maharshi, as well as the Buddha, says that the objects which you see outside, they are not outside, they are within your mind only. Whatever construction, whatever word you create, that is creation of your mind only with the aid of senses. So, your thoughts, your feelings, your perceptions, everything arises in your awareness. And its root is I thought. So Maharshi suggested us this practice of self-inquiry in which by putting the question, who am I bring my total attention on I. What is this I? From where it is arising? What is the source of this I? When I put my attention on I by turning the mind inward, I is stopped from going outward. And my constant attention, my constant vigil is there on the I within me, that I sensation or I feeling. And I am constantly watching. I is watching itself. That is called self attention. Therefore, it is a better way. It has an edge over other methods of meditation where mind is involved, where the support of mind is taken for doing meditation or doing japa or doing other practices. Here, in the self-inquiry method, mind is investigated. Mind, in the form of I thought, starts investigating itself, starts bringing attention on itself. And in that investigation, when continuous attention is kept on I, that I starts dissolving, I starts diminishing, ego starts diluting, and then the I emerges in the source. So there are two ways of doing this self-inquiry. Either you see from where I is arising. You may close your eyes and just see where this I sensation arising or where I sensation is dropping. That particular point, of course, this is not a point physically, but Maharshi says it is called Hridaya Guha, spiritual heart, very small cavity from where this I thought arises, which is the source of all thought, which is the source of mind, and which is also the source of vital force. This is what they say. So, what is so unique in the self inquiry method of Maharshi? In fact, this has been suggested in the Yog Vasisht by Rishi Vasisht. It is also suggested in the Vivek Chudamani. It is also advised in many other books, Know Thyself. But Raman Maharshi suggested it in a very unique way. And he has explained it in a very simplistic way. And he says self inquiry is the most easiest, most doable, most lovable. Now, some devotee asked him why it is so easy. He says, you love something, then it becomes easy. Everybody loves I. I will love I. So I have a self love. So it becomes easy because I am going to put my attention on myself. So it reflects the self love. And it is doable because every day in the night when I go to the sleep, my eye drops, eye sets in. And in the morning when I wake up, the eye again sets in, rises. So it is very much doable. What is automatically happening during my sleep, I have to practice it so that consciously this eye merges into the source. So it is doable also. And third, it is knowable also. You know it. When you know something else, if I say I know this word, so prior to that, I have to know myself. So self knowledge is inherent. Knowingness is inherent. Whenever I am knowing anybody, any second person, third person before that, my knowing myself is inherent, implicit. So Maharshi says it is easy, it is doable, and it is knowable. So you must focus your total attention, 100% attention on the sense of I, sensation of I that arises within, and watch what is its source from where it is arising. And when you have a constant vigil on this, gradually this I will not be allowed to move outward, to grasp, to connect with other thoughts, to connect with the body, and then it will get it will get weakened. It will lose its strength because its strength lies on waxing, on grasping the form and name. And then it will be undernourished, and the time will come, it will merge into the source. And source is indescribable, that is a self. That is common to all, that is that reality only, one reality that will shine. That is also named as eternal I. Eternal I is the name of God. You will feel the I vibration, Atmispurna, that will be felt within your heart. So Maharshi says, whoever came to Maharshi, whoever wanted his grace, he says, who is seeking this grace? He will put a question like this. If somebody goes there, Maharshi, please grace me. Maharshi will say, ask yourself who is seeking the grace and go back to I. Maharshi's first teaching was silence. If you can experience silence within, then that is the first teaching. Because silence is self, self is silence. If you cannot experience silence within because of this mind, because of this I thought, then the second method is self inquiry. Investigate this I thought, which is mind, which is ego, which is constantly changing. Whenever you investigate and whenever you bring your attention constantly on this I which is very phantom, which is very expanded, your ego is very much expanded by connecting to body, names, and forms, and by taking so much intimacy with the outside world, then it starts diminishing, dissolving, and the time comes when, under the constant attention, this sense of I drops in the source from where it has origin. That is the source. And then what remains? Self in its full splendor, which is indescribable. That experience is indescribable. That is the knowledge of the self. That is the purpose of human birth. That is another name of Brahman, manifested Brahman. And we can do it by virtue of self-inquiry. We must practice it. Maharshi says, only thing to realize the self is to continuously focusing your attention on this sense of I. Total attention on I. He says it self-attention. And later on, when this self starts dropping, abiding in self. Nisargadatta Maharaj says, abiding in I am. So, with the help of both these sages and whatever their teachings are, we can immediately go inward to know ourselves, to know our essence. That is why it is called direct path. It is a spiritual bypass. Like you have a medical bypass, you have a bypass of road in infrastructure. In spirituality, it is the bypass because it takes you directly to your source. And it is here and now. You can experience it. That is eternity. That is your own essence. Like the essence of all ornaments is gold. Similarly, the essence of all human beings is this consciousness, Brahman, and that you are, that I am, and that I can experience directly through this method. Only obstruction is this I thought. If I thought dissolves, if I thought subsides, I am that, I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. So Maharshi again and again, whoever came to him, suggested him, who is asking this question, who is sad, find out who is sad, who is perturbed, to whom this doubt is arising. And he will ask in his own presence, go back to the sense of I and focus your attention on I. Of course, in his presence, because of his power, of his presence, the self-inquiry practice done in his presence was more effective. Still, the people go to Ramana Ashram and they sit in his hall and do the self-inquiry practice. Maharshi Raman never advised any rules of conduct, what time you have to get up, how you have to do the self-inquiry, for how much time. Nothing. It was left totally to the discretion and total freedom was given to the devotees. Only one thing, when he was asked any rules to be followed while doing self-inquiry, he will say, he has suggested sattvic diet. A diet should be frugal, diet should be limited and sattvic. Because अन्न से मन बनता है और ज्यादा खाने से, if you take too much, then there is inertia, there is a fatigue, then you cannot be vigilant, you cannot be very attentive. So this was the advice given by Maharshi that we should take sattvic and limited diet so that we can sit in self-inquiry, and once we are used to it, then we can do self-inquiry in between also, while doing the work, by taking the pause, by stilling the mind for few moments, and then it becomes a 24 hours affair. The beauty of doing self-inquiry is your mind, which was turning outward, gets totally inward, and you are totally at peace, in silence, because your sensory perception, which was connecting you to the outside objects, it has stopped, it is withdrawn. Ashtavakra Gita also says, when the Raja Janak asks, what is the direct way, effective way for liberation? He says, the sensory, your senses, which get connected to the objects, consider them poison. Vishyo ko vish jano. This is what he says. And day in and day out, our sensory perception, you see, we are seeing the things, we are hearing, we are smelling, we are tasting, we are touching. All those things, entire phenomena which we experience, and we excessively indulge and experience, and then desires are born. If you see some good things, you want to accumulate. It creates desire to accumulate. So when I get attached to the objects of senses, then it is like a poison. But once my mind is turned inward, my senses are automatically withdrawn inside, because senses get illumination from my mind, from I thought. And mind is turned inward when I am focusing my attention on I. Otherwise, what is our day-to-day life? Right from the day, from the waking up, when we wake up, until the evening, if you analyze all your activities, you will find it is all the sensory of perceptions and experiences. That is our life. Activities, perceptions, sensations, feelings, emotions, aversion, attachments. That is the everyday story. As per Advait Vedanta, this is all experiences. This has arisen and this will subside. This is changeable, constantly changing. It has a illusory character, as if it has not happened. But we give it so much importance. Somebody has said something to us, we will keep it in mind. Some loss has happened to us, some injury has been caused to us. All that will put a scar on our mind. All those experiences are stored together and continuously create bitterness. The experience has arisen and it has gone, but we are having its memory, which is not required. But we store all these kinds of memories. So once we know that it is very transitory, it is illusory, there will be a change in our software, there will be a change in our perception, and we will not like to store it. We will like to ignore it as soon as it happens, because it is merely a happening. It has happened, good or bad. How does it matter? I, as the seer, I, as the experiencer, I, as the awareness, is not concerned with this. And then a total peace, total silence, total bliss takes over. This is the teachings of Maharshi. So today we conclude this self-inquiry, in which we have to focus our attention on I by putting a question to myself, who am I? When I put this question to me, the purpose is to bring outward going mind to inside by reversing its flow. And then when I bring my attention to I, then I stop there and I try to find out what is its source, from where this I is arising, sense of I is arising. My total attention remains on the source, on the root of this I, which I is the root thought. the primary thought. If I thought is not arising, then no other thoughts will come. I thought is the father thought, mother thought. It is another name for ego. And you will find all the thoughts relate to your separate personality, your doership. So when I thought dissolves, your sense of individuality, sense of separation also goes. Here, Buddhist teachings of emptiness may also provide some help. Buddha says, your form is empty. Means individual doesn't have a separate, independent existence. Buddha puts it, Gautam Buddha, yeah, the text, sutras, they put it in a very nice way by saying, who are you? Buddha says when you have a clear vision, you will find you are not simply an individual. You are the result of so many things, the entire cosmos. You are your ancestors. You are your father. You are your mother. How? DNA, genetic things are in you. You are a replica of your father and mother, your ancestors. Therefore, you are the ancestor, your ancestors. You are animal also because you have some animal qualities. You have mineral also. You are mineral also. You represent mineral kingdom also. You are vegetable also. So in you, entire cosmos is there. You represent vegetation. You represent mineral. You represent your own ancestors. You represent animal kingdom. So how you say that you are a separate? There is so much, entire cosmos is contained in you. And you are not static. Buddha explains it in terms of interdependence. Constantly you are changing. Certain cells are taking birth, certain cells are dying. Death is as important as birth. If there is no death, there is no birth. There is no death, there is no birth. You think that this body dies only on one particular day, and it was born only in one particular day, and you celebrate the birth and you mourn the death. If you see every moment, crores of cells are dying, and you are not mourning, and crores of cells in your body are taking birth. You are not celebrating. So it's a constant birth and death which is happening. And Buddha says, therefore, total emptiness. Emptiness means no separate existence. It is all interdependence. You are not able to see clearly what you are. All things in this world are transient, transitory. You live in a delusion. The same thing Advaita Vedanta is saying. So certain teachings of Buddhism also help us to see the things in total perspective. After all, what is awakening? What is realization? To know the truth, to know or to see the things as they are. So we have to understand these teachings very deeply, and then we start doing the practice of self-inquiry so that our mind turns inward and we start investigating the mind or the I thought so that I thought is not allowed to move outward. It is stalled inside, and gradually, when our attention is constantly taken on I, it starts dropping into the source. And we have to see from where this I is arising and where it is merging. Every day in the sleep, this I sets in, I merges, and in the morning it arises. Those moments of the waking time, initial moments of few seconds, are very, very important. If you can just be there, you can retain that status for few more seconds. When I has not started connecting outside, so that can be very good practice. If you stop at I at that moment when you wake up, you are in a transition from sleep to waking, kind of Jagrit Susupti. For 1 or 2 seconds, there if we need, we focus our attention, that will be very, very beneficial. So friends, we conclude today here. I have explained the self-inquiry practice as advised by Raman Maharshi to know your true nature, that is Brahman, that is one reality, which is all pervading, which is ever present, right here and now. You can experience it by focusing your attention on I thought. So we will do self-inquiry hereafter. Hari Om.